Ever think about, like, what happens when something goes wrong on a plane?
Yeah.
We're going to find out. Today's deep dive, it's all about this Air India Express flight,
Right.
IX-613.
Hmm.
It was supposed to be, just a normal trip from Tirupati, India to Sharjah.
Right.
But right after takeoff, October 11th, things got a little, interesting for the 141 passengers on board.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we got the PTI reports here.
Okay.
We are going to break it all down, like what exactly happened, why it matters,
Yeah.
what we can all learn from this.
And that's the key, right? This whole learning part. I mean, this incident, I'm sure, was pretty tense for everyone on board, but it shows you how many layers of safety are built into aviation. It's not just, oh, this happened. It's like, why do we have these procedures in the first place,
It's like having that friend who's like way too into how stuff works.
Right.
But knowing the why can totally change how you see things. So picture this. Flight IX-613. It's a Boeing 737, right?
Okay.
Up in the air. Not too long after takeoff.
And boom, fault detected.
Oh.
Hydraulic systems
Okay.
impacting the landing gear.
And let me tell you, you do not want to mess with landing gear problems. This is not like changing a flat tire.
Right.
Hydraulics, they control some seriously important stuff.
Yeah.
Landing gear, obviously. But also your brakes, your rudder, if those fail when you're trying to land.
Oh, no.
Yeah, not good.
Okay, at this point, if I'm a passenger, I'm freaking out a little. What happens next?
So this is where pilot training comes in. Now, you might think they'd like immediately declare a full emergency. Right?
Wouldn't you? If your landing gear's messed up?
Well, it's not that simple.
Okay.
See, declaring an emergency, that brings in a whole other level of response. Air traffic control, emergency services on the ground.
Yeah.
It can even make passengers more worried,
Right.
So by not hitting that panic button right away, the pilots bought themselves some time to assess, to communicate, figure out the safest plan. They did, however, take a big precaution. They started circling the airport. See, that's what always gets me. Like, at first I'm thinking, are they lost?
Right.
But obviously there's a reason they're up there doing laps.
Oh, yeah. Big reason.
Think about it.
A Boeing 737, it's not one of those huge jets.
Right.
Can't just dump fuel like some of the bigger ones can, to lighten up.
Oh, right.
They needed to burn that fuel off, reduce weight, make sure they could land safely, because every runway, it's got a weight limit.
Oh.
You go over that.
Bad news.
Bad news.
It's like you hear that clunk when the landing gear comes down on a normal flight.
Right.
You don't even think about it. But if that thing's acting up during landing,
Whole different story.
talk about pressure.
Yeah. And that's why pilot training, it's so crucial. They're drilled for these situations, and here, they're calm. The way they handled it, that was key.
Yeah.
After about 2.5 hours, they got that aircraft down safely.
2.5 hours. I bet everyone on that plane was like breathing a sigh of relief.
Oh, I'm sure.
People on the ground, too.
Yeah.
So, okay, everyone's safe. That's the main thing. But they can't just, like, slap some duct tape on a hydraulic system, right?
No, not a quick fix. This is where the real investigation kicks off.
Okay.
The Directorate General of Civil Aviation, the DGCA, India's aviation authority, kind of like our NTSB,
Right.
they're going to be all over this, figuring out what caused that hydraulic failure.
So what are they looking at specifically when they do an investigation like this? What are they trying to piece together?
Oh, they're going to go through everything. Maintenance logs, flight history, looking for any sign of, like, metal fatigue, wear and tear.
Right.
Could even be a manufacturing defect. Who knows?
Yeah, oh, wow.
Lots of possibilities. They've really got to dig in to find the exact cause.
So it could be just, a one-time fluke.
Could
It could be something bigger, right?
Right.
Which is kind of scary to think about. Like, what if it's a problem that just hasn't shown up before?
See, that's the thing with aviation. It's all about managing risk.
Statistically, it's the safest way to travel. But it is complex. All those systems, all those parts working together.
We forget that, I think. When we're up there reading our magazines, whatever, it's not just getting from A to B.
Yeah.
It's this whole, like, I don't even know, engineering marvel.
It is.
Human expertise, and maybe a little luck thrown in there.
Maybe a little, yeah. And, this really highlights just how important that pilot training is.
Yeah.
Think about it. They didn't just land that plane. They stayed calm while they did it. Followed their training, communicated,
Right.
made decisions that kept everyone safe.
It's the human element,
It is.
You can have all the technology, but the training, the ability to stay cool under pressure, that's what can turn a disaster into well, a really long flight.
Exactly. And let's not forget the cabin crew either.
Oh, right.
They're huge in these situations, keeping everyone calm.
Yeah.
They're training how they handle a
Well,
crisis.
part of it. Just as important as the pilots.
It's easy to forget about them, but they're right there with the passengers who are probably terrified. It is a team effort.
For sure.
Speaking of which, even Tamil Nadu's governor and chief minister, they made statements about this, right?
They did, yeah. Governor Ravi and Chief Minister Stalin, they both commended the pilots, the crew,
Wow.
praised their professionalism, their courage.
That's got to mean something,
Yeah.
right? When officials that high up, they take the time to say, good job.
Right.
Says a lot about how serious this could have been and how well they handled it, but beyond the people involved, which is obviously crucial.
Yeah.
This whole thing brings up some bigger questions about aviation safety, don't you
Right.
think? It's like, kind of makes you think, you know?
Yeah.
We hear about this stuff, but
Right.
it's easy to be like, oh, that's awful, and then move on. But then something like this happens,
Yeah.
and you realize, whoa, we really are putting a lot of trust in things going right.
Up there at 30,000 feet. Yeah.
Exactly. It makes you think.
And that's why this DGCA investigation, that's got to be a big deal, right?
Oh, huge.
It's not about blaming anyone. It's about figuring out what went wrong so it doesn't happen again.
Exactly. Was this like a total fluke,
Yeah.
1 in a million?
Uh-huh.
Or is there something else going on
Okay.
with this type of plane, maybe?
Ooh.
Or even just how they do maintenance. These are the questions they'll be looking at.
And those answers, those could change things,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
Not just for this airline, but for everyone.
Absolutely. Imagine if they find something like a flaw in a part that's used on a lot of planes.
Oh, wow.
That could mean grounding planes, inspections,
What?
big stuff.
See, that's what I mean. It's like every time you get on a plane, you're trusting this whole system.
You are.
The engineers who designed it, the mechanics who fixed it, air traffic control, the pilots, obviously. And you're trusting that everyone did their job perfectly.
And you know what? That trust isn't misplaced.
It's built on years and years of, like, really strict safety standards.
Right.
Constant improvements, learning from what's happened in the past, even the near misses.
So for someone like me who doesn't know a ton about planes,
Yeah.
what's the big takeaway here? What should I be thinking about next time I fly?
Well, I think it shows us that aviation safety, it never stops. It's not like, okay, we're done, it's safe now.
Right.
It's always learning, changing, getting better.
It's like they say, any landing you can walk away from.
This is a good one, right?
Exactly. But it's what you learn from all of them.
That's it. That's what matters.
Well, I feel like I learned a lot today, so I really appreciate you breaking all this down.
Happy to do it.
To all of you listening, next time you hear that fasten seatbelt sign, think about everything that's going on behind the scenes, all the skill and technology and, yeah, all the people working to get you where you need to go safely.
They deserve a round of applause, that's for sure.
They really do. And with that, we'll wrap up this deep dive. We'll be back soon with more stories from the world of aviation. Thanks for listening.